Welcome to Make a Path Presents and or Ronnie Hayes' channel. It's a really stupid name for a channel. What was I thinking? Anyway, I say that because I have a Last of Us event coming up, and it's split up between two channels. Now, the gameplay is all going to be on the one channel, Make a Path Presents, June 19th. And leading up to it, we're going to do one video a day revolving around The Last of Us. Some are really quick ones or little topics, and some are a little more in-depth and longer. And that's going to be about 8 days before the 19th, leading it into it. That's if everything gets here in the mail. I'm still waiting on 2 more items, 3 actually, that it's kind of important. Anyway. So we're going to dive into this extended commercial, which is probably one of the greatest I've ever seen in the world of The Last of Us. I mean, this thing is hitting immediately. And this is one of my favorite shots, just one where she kind of pans over and it just gives us a glimpse of the world. This atmosphere here with the fog and the overgrowth. This is, if you're new here, I always call this in post-apocalyptic content, I always call it a beautiful contradiction, because obviously, when you're looking at something like this is, for me, gorgeous, visually stunning and beautiful and breathtaking, but it's broken down, rotted cars, decrepit buildings. That's why I call it a beautiful contradiction, because essentially it means our comfortable way of life is over. That's the only way you get beautiful visuals like this, you know? And it's not something we see every day. And I think that's why I call it that. Anyway, so we're going to dive into this commercial that is just friggin' awesome. But let's rewind it back real quick just to clarify. I have 2 channels. One channel we have been transitioning for a while, and we're finally there where we're going to focus on one main series called The Flaw in All Reviews. However, leading into the transition, I've been promising this game for a while. I didn't know it was going to get delayed, in all fairness, but for a while I was promoting we would do the gameplay on the Make a Path Presents channel. Since then, we moved the gaming over to the Ronnie Hayes channel. So, leading up to June 19th, we're going to do one Walking Dead 1 a week. That'll be on the Ronnie Hayes channel. If you're interested, links are all down below, even to the Discord. Or if you're only here for the gameplay, you can stop by on the Make a Path Presents channel, June 19th from 12 to 12. That's 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. I'm giving people a chance to pick up the copy. June 18th, right at midnight, going into 19th, or picking it up early. I think GameStop still does that. You can stop by at 9 o'clock and get the copy early. If your GameStops are open, check it out. If not, anyway, so that's that. Let's go into the beginning of this trailer. And if you're new to YouTube, I don't know about others, but I don't have any connections like that, so I can't play it in its entirety. We got to break it down piece by piece. But it does kick off with Ellie singing, and then it goes right into her running away from it. It looks like it's the religious group. Love that, with the arrow just going by her head. Again, it's keeping that tension and that stress, keeping it going, like you just miss. And that goes for movies as well, because this is the cinematic. Turns a corner and she butts up against another threat, the clickers. And as a fan of, the infected and the zombie-esque genre and the clicker design itself, I'm really hoping that we get a lot more variety when it comes to the clickers. Not the different stages, because we are getting that, but the different variety between clickers. They tried in the first game, but I feel like the second game, I'm hopeful at least they can have a little more variety amongst them. Now, this is important too, because I was blown away by the blocking here, the tracking, because when she goes, we follow her right over vending machine and all that. She's getting shot at, goes around the corner, and then she busts right out of this window. Now, this is funny because if you watch my Walking Dead reviews, this is something that the Walking Dead TV show has really gotten more relaxed on, where the filming style, if they would have incorporated something with a little more snap to it, a little more immersion, it would work a hell of a lot better. Right now, they're kind of like sitting back recording in one spot. They cut it, and then we're in another spot, and they cut it. we'll have to get into it in a different conversation and do examples and show you. But right here is important because right when she comes out the window, we keep that light behind her of the threat. That light is the threat, and it's following her right up to that window. Now, this is important. Her light on her front is highlighting the new threat. As soon as she turns around, okay, I'm good. You know, the fire is gone now. The threat is off screen. It's just her, but now her light on her front, bam, shows us a new threat right in front of her, comes out of nowhere, and then she dodges, which is a mechanic in the game. See how this all kind of connects? Fucking love it. And they do really sit down and really grind these out. Like, a lot of times, some people will be like, oh, yeah, you're just overthinking it. Man, listen, you ever go into some of the behind the scenes? They really focus on this, especially well-made stuff. Focus on every little aspect of the screen that you're seeing as a viewer, from the trailer to the final product. Now look at in the back. Now that she's facing this threat, we start seeing the torch light reemerge in the background in that hallway. And again, that represents the threat that's tracking her down. And keep an eye on it. And I love that too, because it's little Ellie, man. She's still only 19, and it looked like a dude she was fighting with has her outweighed, outmatched a bit in the strength department, just tosses her over. Obviously, I think he's wounded, if I got that right. But what's behind her? We got that threat. Now it's visually more amplified. It is right there. It's bright. It's burning. They're on her ass. Fucking love this trailer. And this is the part where I think I came a little. This is the part where, again, the post-apocalyptic world, when done right, when done like this, I was like, oh my God, I just want to explore and be in that world. I want so much as possible out in the world, inside with the abandoned buildings and the breakdown and stuff and overgrowth. That's great too, but more and more and more outdoors. Oh, I can't wait. They even pan over, give us a good view of the world, the fog, the atmosphere, and then she chucks herself right over a car. And again, we're following her. We follow to the left, we follow to the right. She pops over the car. I believe we even moved from her right and circled around to her left. The tracking here with the character, that's some things that even shows in movies. And in all fairness, when you're doing a video game or, computer-generated images and stuff, the camera can go anywhere you want it. A lot easier than there's still work, but I'm saying physically easier than if you're in the real world. You're going to have to block down or create or build stages and yada, yada, yada. So there is a distinct difference. That's why we don't see this all the time when it comes to filming actual shows and TV. But you will get scenes and moments that are powerfully done like this, dynamic, immersive, and tracking the character in a way that floats organically behind them or on the side of them or in front of them, just with them. So this is where it reconnects to the very first, I think it was the first story trailer we got, right? One of the first. We go back to this where she's singing around a campfire, I imagine, with Dina there. And this might be a little, I'm hoping in the game they don't do this whole zoom in, but this is a little obvious. And this, for the first time, again, I'm only looking at the official stuff that's released and the main stuff. There's even some smaller things that I just stay away from because I want as much as possible to be new for me when I'm going into this. So obviously I'm not reading leaks, looking at leaks, none of that. I'm going to experience it day one. You guys can experience it with me. If you're here to see how good or bad it is, stop by. I will be letting you know. Anyway, they do zoom in and focus purposefully on the bracelet again. And again, this is the same idea as the very first trailer where she kissed Dina on the dance floor and the camera went around her ponytail, and when it came back around, it was her killing this dude, and she's got the bracelet on now. and I believe Dina had it on first. She's got it on now, but then it did the gameplay where they showed that off, and then when the camera came back around to Ellie after she killed one of the religious people, the camera comes back around and re-blends in and brings her in that different time period. Looking at all this stuff that's released, and I'm kind of wondering what's going to take place and when I'm watching the trailer. And I am starting to think, and I don't know if this is something they even said, and if it was, I just missed it, but I am starting to truly believe now that the game is going to be taking place in different time periods, you know? And I'm not even talking years either. I'm just talking, it might be over the course of different months. But then I'm thinking, like, how are they going to do that with different stages and seasons? Because I believe they said there was going to be different seasons, but does that mean we're bouncing back and forth to different seasons? Like, the first game was linear. You were in Outbreak Day, and then you went to 20 years later, and then we followed those characters. And if I remember right, the only time they bounced around is with the Left Behind DLC, right? Because they bounced around from the past with Ellie and Riley, did I have that name right? And then with Joel being injured and her getting medicine for him. So in a way, the Left Behind is what I'm thinking they're going to do with part 2. And I could be way off, but it was this trailer that really brought it home for me, that they're going to bounce around with time. This looked too clean as far as blending it from the bracelet to the bracelet. And it's definitely hinting that she's getting revenge for Dina. All right. And I know in one of my videos, I did say that she's obviously, and they are obviously hyping this up to let us believe someone she really cared about was injured or killed. And that's who she's getting revenge from. Or for. And there's only one person we knew going in, which is Joel, that she's close to. And Tommy was consoling her, and Joel was nowhere to be around. So it has that bit of information in the trailers, but at the same time, they're really trying to say, look at the bracelet, look at these two characters, this love story. It's about revenge. So there's definitely something going on here. I think I might have been wrong with one of my earlier predictions, but this is where they ended out. She pissed. I don't know. It's an angry face right there. Bam. I'm absolutely hyped, man. Yo, I am absolutely hyped. I know with the leaks going on, it is just a hate fest. And again, if it comes to that and it's bad, we got the best of both worlds because I can stream it and give the first opinions right as it's happening and as it's live. So if they do something and I'm just like, that is like ruining the franchise or whatever it might be. Like the gameplay is fun and the replayability is through the roof and I love this, but when they do this, this, and this, I'm just like, oh, you're gutting me, man, and not in a good way, you know? You guys can witness it when it drops. Again, June 19th, we're going to be playing it. 19th and the 20th for sure. And if we spill over into the 21st, we'll check it out then. But I'm still really hyped for this game. At first, I thought when the leaks dropped and so many people were really upset. Everyone I know personally in real life was like either, yeah, I'm going to wait and not buy it, or they said, I'm not buying it at all. And that was really only about 3 or 4 people that I know that played a game. So far out of like the 4 of us, I think I'm the only one still going through with getting the game. Now, in fairness, one of the people I know is insanely busy right now, so it's unlikely they would have the time to get it anyhow. But the leak chaos was that extra, just wait until reviews come out type of thing. However, it doesn't seem like this has affected sales as much based on the reportings that have been coming out. I think this already beat Spider-Man in the UK, for example, and it's proof positive that the pre-orders sold out, and then they put another batch up on Amazon, and even if those were the ones that were canceled pre-orders, which I don't know if I buy that, but even if they were, they're already sold out. They sold out the first day. I know they were up there for a few hours, and then the next day I checked back and they were all unavailable. So I don't think it's really hurting sales. The majority of viewers, when you look at the likes and dislikes and even views, over 1 million people bought the first game, and there was no fan base at all. There was no franchise, except for people that truly believed, based on the trailers, this was looking like it was going to be fire. But there was no established fan base, is what I'm saying. So the sales have to double based off of the hype of this game. They've got to at least hit 2 million, let's just say 2-3 million. And again, I don't really need to get accurate. I'm trying to give an example. Out of those 2 to 3 million that are going to buy the game, let's even just say it's 2 million. If you look at the views on the trailers and stuff, I'm not even sure if they're getting 2 million views. Let me look at this. 55,000 views. Where is this? PlayStation. There's no way. Let me refresh that. I feel 67,000 views. All right. Well, you can go through the different trailers, but look at it again. It's getting hundreds of thousands of views, and then half is liked and half is disliked. I think it's more like a 60% like to 40% dislike ratio if you go through all the videos on average. We did that on a stream, for anyone asking. Anyway, it looks like the majority of people, and again, this is true as fuck for pretty much any franchise, any fan base, the active online fan base is a smaller cluster than the entire fan base as a whole. The majority of fans aren't active and online. Now, taking that into consideration, you have a smaller pie even than just looking at the active online fan base. You have 2 million plus people that are going to buy the game, right? You have, 300,000 people watching. I think over time, they gain like 1 million views or something like that. Even still, and that's way over time. I got to look back and double check. I might double check before we go down this road, just in case they get millions and millions of views, which I think wouldn't be shocking. I imagine this would have 500,000 views right from the rip. But my point is, I was looking at recent trailers, and ones that have been out for a few months, they only had like hundreds of thousands of views on them. They're not cracking the millions, which means it is just a portion of the viewer base. And if only 40% of those are angry, only hitting the dislike and whatnot and leaving nasty comments, only a portion of that angry mob will actually refund it. So we're talking a few thousand refunds and maybe a handful of collector's editions that are going to just resell out anyway because so many people didn't have the money at the time. And you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to affect sales in a way that you can visually see it. So when it comes to sales, I ain't worried. And even if it does, it is what it is. It allows more fans to be able to pick up some of the stuff that was previously sold out and selling for crazy prices. So there is always a positive to every negative, maybe. All right, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.